Part 73. Heaven-Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 731. For a cultivator, a Taoist partner is very rare. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. At first, he thought it was Nangong Wei, but he missed her and didn't have that fate. Now, he has already made other decisions. The so-called Taoist partner is to accompany each other for life. As for Yu Wei, she is not the person Wu Yu desires, and Yu Wei knows this. A cultivator can continue to pursue the Great Way and even be honored as an immortal without a Taoist partner. A Taoist partner is not a particularly important thing, so Princess Yu Wei thinks that she will only pursue the Great Way in her life, which is also good. She does not agree with the prince consort arranged for her by the royal family. Of course, Wu Yu knows everything she thinks because of the soul control blood formation. But even so, Yu Wei is very calm, and she is not afraid of Wu Yu knowing her thoughts. Compared with the past, she has changed so much that the soul controlling blood formation doesn't even seem like a bad thing to her. At least during this period, her state of mind has made great progress and she has an incredible understanding. I can probably feel that it won't be long before I can reach the 7th level of the Yuanshen transformation realm. This is at least a few years faster than I expected. In the Yanhuang ancient domain, people of the same age as me should not have achieved my achievements for the time being, she said calmly. Congratulations, you deserve it. Wu Yu smiled slightly. He realized that for a cultivator, sometimes hardship is not a bad thing, and it may become the driving force for his rebirth in adversity. Now outside the underworld palace, it must be chaotic, but here it is very peaceful, and Wu Yu is also happy to be quiet. He began to think about the next path in the place arranged for him by Yu Xing. Yin Ying is in trouble. I still need more than 700 total merits to become a centurion and enter the other world alone. Now I can only go in with Yuan Xunyu. But, after the incident with the Beiming Emperor Beast, I'm afraid Yuan Xunyu will not dare to take me with him no matter what. Then I can only find someone else, but who else is willing to go in with me? He felt that the road to the other world was temporarily blocked. In that case, while avoiding the storm, he could only focus on cultivation temporarily. The previous trip to the other world was actually rewarding. The gods of all things were actually born in the Tao. The storms in the other world are all a kind of Tao, which Wu Yu deliberately pursued and wanted to comprehend. The realm of Tao is gradually increasing, and Wu Yu occasionally continues to study the magic circle. In fact, he has made a lot of progress since he came out of the ancient immortal road. In the Battle of Immortals, the means of attack include magical arts, Taoist magic, Taoist instruments and talismans. Among them, magical arts and Taoist magic need to be cultivated. At present, the 4 major magical powers have almost reached my extreme, but I am still short of Taoist magic, so I lack the variety of enemy-breaking moves. Once the opponent has studied it thoroughly, it is still quite dangerous. That is why he went to look for Taoist magic. Moreover, his clones can all perform Taoist magic. At present, clones are not very useful, and they must be supported by top-level Taoist magic. Now there are still thousands of clones. When they reach the Yuanshen realm, there may be tens of thousands of clones, bombarding wildly. That scene is so spectacular. With tens of thousands of clones, I am afraid that no one can find Wu Yu's body. It is a pity that there is no Taoist magic suitable for me in the Dark Sea Avenue. Wu Yu felt that he had reached a dilemma in terms of Taoist magic. He entered the floating life tower and placed it on the ground. There is twice the time here. He stayed here and used this twice to continue to comprehend the Tao. If he went out now, there would definitely be some troubles. Princess Yuxiang's move made it impossible for them to move Wu Yu, so they could only solve the problem by themselves. Wu Yu didn't bother to care about these things. He was immersed in his own world of cultivation. After a battle, he settled down and his Tao realm quietly grew. Occasionally, Wu Yu also flipped through his sumi bag. There were still some things left from the Little Prince, Juxing Suechi, and Feng Guangzi. Most of them were thrown away. The ones left would not reveal his identity. He wanted to see if he could find one or two Taoist arts in them. Of course, he couldn't forget the strange rebirth of Emperor Li. He asked Princess Yuxiang to inquire about the news. It was said that after Emperor Li came out, he was very well behaved and made rapid progress in strength. Yuxiang couldn't keep up with this progress. She just said that she might be the fastest to reach this realm at the same age, and she probably forgot Emperor Li. Emperor Li was very far away from Wu Yu, so he still felt quite safe. If he got close, Wu Yu really didn't know how to face this person who was supposed to be dead. This is. Just when he was thinking about Li Daizi, he suddenly found something among the relics of the geniuses on the Wangxian terrace. It was a plaque with 4 golden Taoism is natural engraved with dragons and phoenixes. Wu Yu didn't remember where this plaque came from at first. Later, he finally remembered that when he was shut down from the Wangxian terrace to the sword-shaped mountain, he couldn't get those Taoist scrolls on the first mountain full of Taoist scrolls, and finally threw a plaque in. This plaque was once hung on the gate of that mountain. At that time, if I practiced somersault cloud, maybe I could go in and get those Taoist scrolls. I don't know what sect left them. There are so many, there is always something suitable for me. There are even the top ones in the world. Taoism is so powerful. What a pity. Thinking of the rows of Taoist scrolls on the bookshelves, Wu Yu was particularly depressed. He always felt that they were missing the slightest bit. In the Fusion Tower, he placed the Tao follows nature plaque on his legs and thought of those Taoist scrolls. And became slightly absent-minded. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. Tao follows nature. These 4 words, when I looked at them fiercely, really felt like thunder piercing my ears. Suddenly, there was a roar in my heart. Tao is the nature of heaven and earth. Heaven, earth, and people are all in Tao. Heaven and earth have their own laws, and Tao follows nature. How could it be possible that just a plaque could have such spiritual connotation just because of 4 words? Now touching this plaque that he had almost forgotten, the more Wu Yu became suspicious, the more he could feel a powerful force on this plaque, as if a giant beast was awakening in his arms. Buzz. Unknowingly, this plaque from the Taku Immortal Road became very popular. In the palm of Wu Yu's hand, on this plaque, the 4 characters Tao follows nature, each stroke has a feeling of change, and in each stroke, the face, body, etc. of a beast are found. In the end, it seemed that the 4 characters Tao follows nature were actually composed of dozens of beasts. At this time, dragons and tigers roared, birds chirped and horses neighed, and all kinds of giant beasts roared. It was very lively inside the floating life tower. Wu Yu never expected that a random plaque on the Thunder Peak would turn out to be something extraordinary. This plaque is really hidden deep enough. If Wu Yu hadn't happened to see him when he was searching for other things, and his attention was still on enlightenment, and he was accidentally shocked by the 4 characters Tao follows nature, he would really have been shocked. You won't notice the difference in this plaque. I remember that at that time, all the palaces were good, but this plaque was stuck crookedly on the ground. Wu Yu remembered that he was on that mountain peak and could only look at so many Taoist scrolls without gaining anything, so he took the plaque away. It was just a whim at the time, thinking that he could not leave empty-handed. So, the most curious thing now is, what is this thing in my hand that makes all the beasts spoil? Minglong loved to join in the fun. Of course, she ran out with a loud roar. She was also reminded of this change. At this time, her eyes widened and she said, "When did you bring this thing back? Where did it come from?" Taku Immortal Road. Wu Yu told her about that place. I remember. It's entirely possible that it's a treasure. I remember that there were all Taoist scrolls on that mountain, but they were sealed by the magic circle, and finally collapsed completely. All the Taoist scrolls were missing. It's like a section. I think you can treat this plaque as a Taoist tool, or even a Shangling Taoist tool, and see if there will be any changes. That is to deal with it through sacrificial methods. Wu Yu thought the same way. He closed his eyes and concentrated. In fact, he could probably feel that this should be a deeply hidden Taoist weapon. Under normal circumstances, it might be that there was a deep hidden magic circle on it. Therefore, it is impossible to detect that it is a Taoist weapon. It may only be discovered after suspicion. He used the method of sacrificial refining to feel the plaque, and wanted to rush into the world of the plaque. Now he has treasures such as the 10,000 dragon stick and the floating life tower. If this is really a good Taoist tool, it should be able to control it. Not difficult. Just after using the method of sacrificial refining, a voice came from inside the plaque, roaring in Wu Yu's mind. Only an ancient voice could be heard, very solemn, asking, "Disciples of the demonic Dao sect, do you want to challenge the Deifa Demon Palace?" Wu Yu did not dare to agree. The sound was too strange and strange. When encountering such an unclear situation, it was better to ask Ming Long first. A disciple of the Demon Dao sect, the Dao Fa Demon Palace. Ming Tong tilted her head. Maybe these words seemed familiar to her. She asked Wu Yu not to agree yet. Instead, she racked her brains and murmured, "This is strange. Why do I feel like I have heard this name before? What about Demon Dao sect? Have you heard of it? This might be the sect on the Taku Immortal Road." How could you have heard of it? Wu Yu was also very puzzled. Ming Long was wandering around in front of him, frowning, and said, "Something's wrong, I really remember hearing about it. This thing is a Taoist tool, but it's not a simple Taoist tool. I remember that only very ancient sects can have it. This type of Taoist tool seems to have been lost a long time ago." At this point, she suddenly jumped up and said, "I finally remembered. Heaven Swallowing Record." Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 732. Chapter content begins. Ming Long once ruled the roost in her era, and she indeed knew much more than Wu Yu. Moreover, when she reached her peak, she had been practicing for hundreds of years. Now, she is an old antique. What do you remember? Wu Yu was now very curious about this. Ming Long was so excited that he screamed for a long time before he said, "Demon Taoist sect, it's not that this sect is powerful, but because, this sect is very special. It is not from our time. In my time, it would probably have to go back tens of thousands of years. Do you know what's so special about it?" "Nonsense, of course I don't know," Wu Yu said. Every time at this time, Ming Taki felt particularly accomplished. She smiled proudly and said, "One of the special things is that this is actually a sect established by a demon. As we all know, demons rely more on the natal magical powers brought by their blood. The natal magical powers, it is particularly powerful, much more powerful than the ascetic's natal magical power, which actually comes from the demon. The magical power of the ascetics is actually not bad. Of course, in turn, the demons will also learn the Taoism of the ascetics. Those with good talent and high understanding will create their own. They can perform Taoism that is not weaker than that of the ascetics. In our time, we heard that there was a sect established by demons. Most of them were demons with weak magical powers. They gathered together to study Taoism, achieved outstanding achievements, and created many demonic Taoisms. Are extremely powerful, and although they are a group of demons, their attainments in Taoism are no less than those of top cultivators, and because of their status, the Taoism they create is quite different from those of cultivators. This is quite new. Could it be that the sect that is surrounded by thunder and is very similar to the immortal sect in Xuanhuan is called the demonic Dao sect? Ming Long continued and said, "The second special thing is simple. The reason why it has been passed down is because the demonic Dao sect is very prosperous here, and even gathers many sea demons. In the Yanhuang ancient territory, there are almost as many demons as now. One day after the huge power of the Beiming Empire, everything in the entire demon Dao sect, whether it was buildings, people, mountain gates, or all treasures, completely disappeared overnight, as if this demon Dao sect had never existed. This is how the story of his deeds has been handed down. This is strange. How could there be a sect where the people and everything in it completely disappeared overnight? It would be strange enough if the entire underworld suddenly disappeared. Of course, Wu Yu estimated that this rumor was correct and should have disappeared overnight. Otherwise, he might not have met him on the Taku Immortal Road. Could it be that everything in this demonic Taoist sect was transferred to the Taku Immortal Road overnight? Wu Yu asked in shock. I guess that's the case. After all, the Taku Immortal Road is very wonderful, but why something like this happened is really unimaginable. There are too many secrets between heaven and earth. The entire mountain gate has been moved. Where are the people? It seems they didn't appear on the Taku Immortal Road. Wu Yu remembered that many of the furnishings of the sect on Thunder Mountain Peak were still intact, but the people inside seemed to have suddenly disappeared. If that group of people also arrived at Taku Immortal Road, the sect would not look like what Wu Yu saw. It is very likely that the mountain gate has reached Taku Immortal Road, but the person has gone to another place. Then, where will it be? Nearly 200,000 years have passed, so of course Wu Yu cannot know. However, knowing it now is of no use. This kind of thing is a mystery. As time goes by, it has long been forgotten. Even if the truth is known now, it is of no use. I'm just a little curious, what could happen that would cause an entire sect to suddenly disappear? Wu Yu lowered his head and looked at the plaque. Now that the plaque has come to life, it should indeed be a Taoist tool. Maybe it will be a Shangling Taoist tool. What's the use of this? Wu Yu asked. Minglong said, if I guessed correctly, this kind of weapon should be called a special weapon. Different from ordinary weapons, this type of weapon has special functions and is not made for fighting, defense, confinement, etc. Yes. In fact, some Sumuru bags are considered to be special Tao tools when they are made to the level of Tao tools. It's just that there are not many special Tao tools now. Special Tao tools also have levels. You can't tell the level of the one you have. It will be very high. As for its real effect, Wu Yu heard that sound just now. He asked Wu Yu if he wanted to challenge the Tao Fa Demon Palace. So is the name of this plaque Tao Fa Demon Palace. Moreover, he automatically regarded Wu Yu as a disciple of the Demon Dao sect. Minglong slapped his head and said, yes, this special Taoist tool does not need to be sacrificed or refined to identify its owner. The person who made it can set restrictions on who can use it, but the function of this thing is not to control, rather, it is a place to be challenged. In a sense, it is similar to the Fusion Tower, but the function of the Fusion Tower is more mysterious. A place to be challenged. Wu Yu probably understood. Perhaps this Taoist weapon is equivalent to a trial venue. All disciples can challenge this Taoist demon palace, and then they may gain something. It should be like this, inseparable. So, don't I know if I try a challenge? Isn't this nonsense? Having said this, Wu Yu knew what was going on. I want to challenge, he responded to the words of the Demon Palace. Just after he finished speaking, the plaque of Dao Fa Yao Dian left Wu Yu's hand and stood upright on the ground. The two words Dao Fa also changed from horizontal to vertical, and the two words naturally became Yao Dian. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Then it changed again, and the four words were engulfed by the white light. The plaque standing on the ground directly turned into a small door shining with light. This door, of course, can lead to the Dao Fa Yao Dian. Wu Yu was excited and stood up. Without saying a word, he turned sideways and entered the small door shining with white light. When he entered, the light of the small door dimmed and turned back to the previous appearance of the plaque, and then fell into the Fusheng Tower with a clang. Inside this plaque, like the Fusheng Tower, there is also a space. This space is of course constructed with various magic arrays. Wu Yu now seems to have come to another world. This world is white, surrounded by countless clouds and mist, and even the eyes of fire and gold cannot see far. In the dim light, you can hear the voices of various wild beasts, or demons. They hum, bark, and hibernate in the dark, with voices coming one after another, and occasionally there will be high-pitched roars. This is the Taoism Demon Palace. Choose the ancestor you want to challenge, and choose the Taoist art you want to practice. After entering, the voice of the Taoism Demon Palace echoed in Wu Yu's ears again. Ancestor. With such a question, Wu Yu walked forward in this Taoism Demon Palace, pushing aside the clouds and mist. Not long after walking, Wu Yu suddenly saw a platform in the clouds and mist. This platform is very similar to the Wangxiantai. It is round and crystal clear. You can vaguely see a hemispherical transparent barrier on it. It is also like the Wangxiantai. It looks like a place where you can go in but not out. The clouds and mist were isolated by the mysterious platform suspended in the air. Wu Yu had sharp eyes and soon saw that there was a transparent piece on the white jade platform in the center. The transparent piece was like ice, embedded in the platform. It could be vaguely seen that there was a scroll in the middle of the ice. The appearance of this scroll was similar to what I had seen at Thunder Mountain. The result of the challenge should be a scroll of Taoist magic. Wu Yu was just having a headache about Taoist magic at the Underworld Avenue. He didn't expect that the plaque he accidentally took away a long time ago could solve his urgent needs at this time. The question is, where will the opponent of the challenge be? Wu Yu approached the platform, but he was not in a hurry to go in, because he guessed that there should be many platforms like this that could be challenged in the clouds and mist. When he appeared above the platform, suddenly, it changed. Many magic arrays suddenly appeared on the platform. The magic arrays operated with the center, and many of them were very ancient symbols. At the center, ripples appeared like water, and at this time, a beast came out. A closer look revealed that it was a white tiger that was 3 meters long, with a white body and white eyes, without a single flaw. The tiger had sword-like teeth and a pair of pure white eyes. Since it appeared, it stared at Wu Yu with an indifferent look. What is this? Wu Yu felt that the other party had the power of a demon and the feeling of a soul, but this was not a real demon. It was somewhat similar to a puppet or a mechanism. However, puppets and mechanisms are basically made of treasures. The white tiger in front of him felt like flesh and blood, but it felt that the soul was incomplete, and it was not a real demon. This should also be an ancient magic array method. The dead body and the incomplete soul of the deceased are used to draw the magic array directly on the body, which is a bit like a corpse puppet. However, this is the consent of the deceased himself. Generally, after death, he still wants to contribute to the sect, so he will choose this way. Although he has passed away, he is still willing to use this method to guide the younger generation. This method has been lost now. Ming Long was a little surprised. So, this white tiger demon is the ancestor. Although the ancestor died, the corpse and soul were left behind, but they were preserved in this way and became part of this Dao Fa Yao temple to guide future generations. In the world of cultivation, this is also a great spirit and worthy of respect. This is essentially different from refining corpse puppets. Corpse puppets are a blasphemy against the dead. When the white tiger demon appeared, the magic array changed on the white jade platform, and 2 paragraphs of text appeared. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 733. Chapter content begins. The first paragraph of text, Xuanhuan Gluoshu, created by the 8th generation ancestor, the demon Light and Shadow Extreme Tiger, is at the level of the mysterious art of heaven and earth, and is cultivated. With the light of Xuanhuan, he refines the heaven and earth Wang Gluo, which is amazingly powerful. The second paragraph of text, Light and Shadow Extreme Tiger Mu Sheng, once served as the Grand Elder of our Demon Dao section. When he was at the highest level of cultivation, he reached the 6th level of the Dao realm. He died due to the second natural disaster. He was of noble character and volunteered to guard the Dao Fayao Palace to guide the younger generation and pass down the Xuanhuan Gluoshu. This white tiger demon is called Light and Shadow Extreme Tiger. Now the Xuanhuan Gluoshu in the scroll is the Dao technique he created. Although Light and Shadow Extreme Tiger is dead now, he is still guarding here. In other words, Wu Yu has to defeat Light and Shadow Extreme Tiger to obtain this Xuanhuan Gluoshu. Moreover, perhaps during the battle, or after the battle, when practicing Dao techniques, Light and Shadow Extreme Tiger will personally help. This is the Taoist technique he created. With his guidance, the speed of cultivation will be fast. At this time, Wu Yu really understood what level of treasure this Taoism demon palace is. It can accommodate predecessors like Guangying Jihu and Xuanhuan Gluoshu. If there are many, this Taoism demon palace is definitely a treasure. Its value is obviously not inferior to the Wanlong stick. Wu Yu doesn't believe that there will be only one ancestor, Guangying Jihu, and one Taoist technique here. Guangying Jihu Mu Sheng, at his peak, was at the 6th level of the realm of Taoism, which is close to becoming an immortal. I don't know what his strength is now after so many years. Obviously, as a place to be challenged, all disciples of the Demon Dao sect must succeed in the challenge before they can practice its Taoist technique. It should not be easy to succeed in the challenge. After all, they are facing the ancestors of the sect. Wu Yu decided to go to other places first. He left this place and went to other directions. As expected, he found that this Taoism demon palace was actually very large. Every once in a while, he could encounter a challenge platform. On the challenge platform, there was basically a Taoism scroll and a senior demon. There were many kinds of Taoism and demons. They were all Taoism created by the demons themselves. Basically, there were all kinds of them. They were complex and diverse. Although the power was unknown, just by listening to the name and description, one could roughly guess that these Taoism were not simple. And those demon ancestors who could stay in the Taoism demon palace basically had the strength of the realm of asking for the Tao. At the peak, they were all at least asking for the Tao. Wu Yu wandered around for a long time and saw at least more than 300 kinds of Taoism and more than 300 demons. The strongest one among them was a demon called Nine-Headed Kirin. This Nine-Headed Kirin was not a Kirin fairy beast. One could tell at a glance that its bloodline was extremely high. Its highest realm was the 10th level of the Dao realm. It was said that it died at the last checkpoint before becoming an immortal, and finally died in the Great Calamity of the Immortal Way. Once it survived the Great Calamity of the Immortal Way, it would be ranked in the immortal class and go to heaven. The Taoist art Life and Death Return to Heaven left by it was also a top-level Taoist art, beyond the scope of heaven and earth mystical art. It was estimated that only those in the Dao realm could perform it. However, when Wu Yu looked at the mighty Nine-Headed Kirin, he knew that he was definitely not the opponent of the other party, so it would definitely not be easy to get the Life and Death Return to Heaven art. For disciples of the demonic Dao sect, there must be restrictions on entering this Dao Fayao palace. Maybe they can only enter once if they have achieved some merit or reward. But now the demonic Dao sect is gone, but I can come in countless times. So many Taoist arts, as long as I can challenge them successfully, they are all mine. He hadn't explored the surroundings thoroughly, but he had already seen hundreds of Taoist arts. At this time, he couldn't wait to challenge. For the first challenge, he should find a weaker one, and of course the Taoist arts should also be suitable. He walked around and made a decision. At this time, he appeared on a challenge platform, and saw a grey monkey appeared in the challenge platform. The monkey was not big, only the size of a palm, with grey hair all over his body, but his face was indeed blood red, especially his eyes, which were all blood red, without pupils and whites. Such a small monkey, but not simple. The magic circle changed into text, and it was written on it, "The weeping blood demon monkey Ji Yao is the 10th generation elder of our section. He has a perverse temperament, but a kind heart and outstanding military exploits. The highest realm is the second level of the three disasters realm." In the end, he died heroically due to a dispute with the cultivator. The blood weeping boundary technique was created by the weeping blood demon monkey. It uses the sharpest sound to impact and tear the enemy's ears and soul. When this sound comes out, the sky and the earth change color. It is the most unique sound in the world. The blood weeping boundary technique is not perfect. Although it is powerful, it requires monkey blood to practice. This is also the limitation. It has not been able to break through the goal of my demon sect to connect the world. Although there are limitations, Wu Yu is not restricted by these limitations. Moreover, the realm of the weeping blood demon monkey is indeed the weakest among the Dao Fa Yao Palace. Therefore, Wu Yu decided to challenge the weeping blood demon monkey. The Taoist demon palace has really solved my urgent problem, but whether I can seize the opportunity depends on me. In this battle, Wu Yu did not dare to slack off. He held the worldly infinite 10,000 dragons stick in his hand and transformed the heavens and the earth. His body became the smallest, as small as the crying blood demon monkey, in exchange for top speed, because he could see that the speed of the crying blood demon monkey must be terrifying. Of course, he also underwent the immortal ape transformation. After the transformation, this little golden monkey and the blood-weeping demon monkey had a sense of good and evil, and they were almost the same in stature. As soon as Wu Yu entered, the blood-red eyes of the weeping blood monkey had already locked onto him. It's amazing. Wu Yu unexpectedly discovered that within this barrier, when he actually faced the blood-weeping demon monkey, although the opponent had been dead for a long time and was now a corpse, the power of the magic circle and the Taoist artifact Tao Magic Demon Palace should be used. But it's really not much more than a living demon. Hiss! The blood-weeping demon monkey made a slight sound. It was not a hiss, but Wu Yu felt as if his ears were being pulled. The blood-weeping demon monkey had a bad look on his face, and even felt miserable. It was obvious that he was about to cry. Sure enough, in the next moment, the weeping blood demon monkey opened his mouth slightly, his eyes were lowered, looking very sad, and he began to make a whining sound. At first, this sound made people feel that this little thing was quite pitiful. But in the next moment, it turned into something terrifying. Woo-oh! From crying, it started to turn into angry crying and angry screaming. The blood-weeping demon monkey did not approach Wu Yu at all. Instead, it hid in the distance and screamed crazily. Its screams were the countdown to the blood-weeping world technique that Wu Yu wanted to obtain today. Invisibly, the barrier of the challenge platform directly changed into a space, just like the space of Wu Yu's Golden Eyes realm. Within this space, his cries and screams did not disappear, but it is constantly reverberating in this space, and the weeping blood demonic monkey is constantly increasing its voice. This results in the sound of tearing ears and soul in this space getting stronger and stronger. The further back you go, the more terrifying it becomes. By this time, Wu Yu had already felt the pain of tearing in his ears. He didn't have a soul yet, but his soul was even more fragile when faced with such a voice, so from the beginning, Wu Yu suppressed the blood-weeping demon monkey, and he instantly fell into the terrifying pain that he could only struggle. How terrible! What's even more frightening is that those voices did not disappear. They even echoed in this space. They became more condensed and directly transformed into entities. They transformed into a kind of blood-colored threads, wandering around here and sprinting towards Wu Yu. It was like a sharp blood needle, piercing into his body. It is hard to imagine that such an attack is not a natural magical power, but a Taoist skill created by it. Not to mention the current strength of this blood-weeping demon monkey, this blood-weeping world technique alone can kill Wu Yu at this time. Wu Yu finally realized how terrifying this ancestor was. Moreover, the further back you go, the scarier it becomes. With this type of Taoist magic, the only way is to quickly stop it when it is being used. Once it starts, it is really difficult to do. In the extreme pain, there is no way to use Taoist magic to resist. And now they are in the Tao Fa Demon Hall inside the Fusion Tower, and black and white impermanence cannot be brought in. Fortunately, Wu Yu's physical body is very strong. He can hold on for a short period of time. With this short period of time, he can react quickly. He cannot use other magical powers, but the extrajudicial clone is very fast. When he is in pain, he can pick up his hair and blowing, thousands of clones immediately flew out, crowding the place. The clone is not affected by the sound and attacks directly. There are really not many people who are not affected by this sound. The reason why the clone is not affected is because it is essentially a kind of hair. Boom boom boom. Those many clones, holding Taoist weapons and magic weapons, attacked crazily at the blood-weeping demon monkey while Wu Yu was restrained and tortured. The other party probably didn't expect that Wu Yu could undergo such a magical change. He didn't react for a moment, and was beaten to the point of running away. Even the blood-weeping world technique was relaxed and its power was reduced. The weeping blood demon monkey soon discovered that Wu Yu's clone could only cause him trouble, but was not powerful enough to defeat him, so he fled quickly while continuing to use the blood-weeping world technique. However, Wu Yu had already had a chance to breathe at this time. For him, that's enough. Golden Eye Realm. Although there is no sun here, most of the power of the Golden Eye's realm can be exerted, especially in this closed challenge platform. His eyes flashed, and Wu Yu could control this space faster than the blood-weeping realm technique. A huge fireball formed in the Golden Eye realm, directly filling the challenge platform. The entire internal space of the challenge platform was swallowed up by Wu Yu. Of course, the blood-weeping demon monkey was among them. When he was about to attack Wu Yu with the Taoist blood-weeping realm technique, he was always burned by Wu Yu's Golden Eye's realm. Then it depends on whether the Golden Eye's realm is powerful or the blood-weeping realm. Heaven-swallowing record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 734. In the burning of the Golden Eye realm and the pursuit of Wu Yu's thousands of clones, the blood-crying demon monkey still chose to use the blood-crying realm technique, screaming wildly, trying to get Wu Yu first. Wu Yu figured it out. The ancestors here should only be able to perform one kind of Taoism, which is the Taoism they are guarding. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. For example, the blood-crying demon monkey only uses the blood-crying realm technique in battle. This is basically a vivid display of the Taoism they want to get to the challengers. If you want to learn a Taoism, experience the power of this Taoism first. When you really learn it, it will definitely be twice the result with half the effort, because only when you are attacked can you know the terrible power of this Taoism. For example, Wu Yu is now fighting against the opponent with the Golden Eye realm, and he probably knows it. The feeling of having your ears torn and your soul piercing is indeed quite unbearable. As for the power of the Taoist magic, it may be related to the strength of the weeping blood demon monkey in his lifetime. After all, the more advanced the Taoist magic, the more difficult it is to obtain. Basically, the weakest level of this Taoism demon palace is difficult for Wu Yu to challenge for the time being. Compared with the weeping blood demon monkey, Wu Yu has an additional clone attack. The clone actually has a great influence, making it impossible for him to concentrate on performing the blood-weeping world magic, and he also has to endure the burning of the Golden Eye world. Even so, Wu Yu was in unbearable pain under the blood-weeping world magic, and he felt that he could not hold on any longer. Probably the stalemate, under the pursuit of Wu Yu's clones, after a quarter of an hour, the weeping blood demon monkey finally couldn't hold on, the blood-weeping world magic was blocked again, and the burning of the golden eye world almost burned it to charcoal, at least it looked like that on the outside. Congratulations, the challenge is successful, and you can obtain the blood-crying world technique. When Wu Yu heard this voice, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, the opponent's blood-crying world technique also disappeared, but for a long time, Wu Yu still felt the pain in his soul. It took half a day to recover. This is a Taoist technique created nearly 200,000 years ago, and it has long been lost. Putting away the Golden Eye realm and the clone, the challenge platform was quiet. All that could be seen was that the blood-crying demon monkey was still standing, but the little monkey was much kinder at this time. It was playing by itself, occasionally looking at Wu Yu a few times, winking, quite interesting. In the center of the challenge platform, there was a transparent piece of jade that was originally a place where the Taoist scroll was hidden. At this time, the transparent jade suddenly turned into liquid, and the scroll recording the Taoist scroll naturally floated to the surface of the water. It can be vaguely seen that there are blood-red words on the scroll, recording the blood-crying world technique. He quickly stepped forward and fished the scroll out of the water. After you have completed the practice, put the scroll back to its original place. The voice from the Dao Fa Yao Palace reminded Wu Yu again. These are the voices stored in the magic circle. Now, he holds the blood-crying world technique in his hand. Anyway, he has nothing else to do for the time being, and he has just endured the power of the blood-crying world technique, so he is already a little impatient to practice this Taoist technique. He originally thought that he could take the blood-crying world technique out and practice it in the floating life tower, because he was not sure whether the time speed here would be the same as that of the floating life tower if he entered here from the floating life tower. After all, the floating life tower has a double time advantage. However, just as he was about to go out, he found that the barrier of the challenge platform actually stopped him. In other words, the Dao Fa Yao Palace did not want him to leave, or leave with this Taoist technique. Admittedly, he could use the somersault cloud and maybe jump out directly. However, Ming Long said, according to the rules of this type of Taoist artifact, you are generally not allowed to take the Taoist scroll away, because these precious Taoist arts may only have this one record. Therefore, the former disciples of the demonic Dao sect should practice here after the challenge is successful, until they succeed and return the Taoist scroll, and then they can leave. Of course, you can leave halfway, but you can't take the Taoist scroll away. Moreover, there is another benefit of practicing here, which is the most outstanding feature of the demonic Dao sect after it has this Taoist artifact. What? Ming Long pointed to the weeping blood demon monkey and said, he is still here, obviously he will guide you to practice this Taoist art. Although there may be no verbal communication, I believe that with him here, it will be much more effective. Ming Long's words make sense. So, he decided to study this blood-weeping world art here. Shishi, when Wu Yu unfolded the Taoist scroll that was 10 feet long, the weeping blood demon monkey jumped directly onto the scroll, tilted its head to look at Wu Yu, chirped, and walked around on the scroll. Wu Yu began to ponder the mystery. While he was watching, the weeping blood demon monkey was always there, and occasionally he would continuously perform the blood-weeping world technique, but it did not form a lethal force. He even showed Wu Yu the formula for running this Taoist technique bit by bit. In this way, after experiencing the power of this Taoist technique created by the demon in person and with the personal guidance of the creator, with Wu Yu's comprehension, he would find that practicing this Taoist technique is much easier than he imagined. The key point is that although this weeping blood demon monkey is a predecessor, it is really cute, especially when it looks aggrieved and feels like it will cry at any time. Ming Long wanted to play with it. It's really hateful. Something older than me actually stays here to act cute, Ming Long said unwillingly. You are the same, too. You are so old, but you still dress up as a little girl, Wu Yu said with a smile. This made Ming Long anxious, and he cursed, "Oh, you grandson, without me, do you know where you are now? Do you know what this is? You still dare to laugh at me, believe it or not, in the future, your grandmother will be very successful and cut off your head and use it as a chamber pot." This chapter is not yet finished, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. I don't believe it. Damn, your wings are hard, I will beat you into excrement. Time passed. Wu Yu went out to calculate and was surprised that if he was in the floating life tower and opened the Daofa Demon Hall, the time in the Daofa Demon Hall would be twice that outside. In other words, the space of the Daofa Demon Hall was swallowed by the floating life tower, and naturally it was controlled by the floating life tower according to the time of the floating life tower. This obviously means that the level of the floating life tower is higher. This is better. Wu Yu stayed in the Daofa Demon Hall and concentrated on studying the blood-crying world technique. The Taoist Demon Palace is simply a paradise for practicing Taoism. After all, Wu Yu is practicing with the creator of Taoism. No one is more familiar with Taoism than the creator of Taoism. Maybe in the era of the Demon Dao sect, this weeping blood demon monkey has guided countless younger generations to practice this blood-weeping world art. Therefore, Wu Yu seems to know clearly what problems he encounters and where the difficulties are. Although there is no verbal communication, the weeping blood demon monkey will personally teach him. This is simply the most direct guidance. Basically, there is no need to think too much, and all the unclear places will be solved quickly. Awesome. Wu Yu only needs to spend time and try repeatedly to find out what he doesn't understand. Once he starts to try to perform, the weeping blood demon monkey will know at a glance what went wrong. The practice of Taoism is to copy the Tao of the predecessors. It is different from practicing Taoism. Practicing Taoism requires a lot of your own insights and thinking by yourself, but practicing Taoism only requires following the thinking of the predecessors, walking once, and mastering its fundamental Tao. Therefore, in the practice of Taoism, if someone guides, the effect is huge. As for learning from one example, you can only do it after you have mastered the Taoist magic. If you don't even master the basics of the Taoist magic, don't even think about learning from one example. It took 2 months. Only 1 month has passed in the outside world. During this period of time, Wu Yu has mastered the blood-weeping realm art. Not only can he perform it, he has also performed it several times on this challenge stage, and even all his clones can perform this Taoist magic. Thousands of clones perform the blood-weeping realm art together, forming 1,000 blood-weeping realms, plus Wu Yu's original blood-weeping realm, forming a superposition. After superposition, it is not a 1+1 relationship. Rather, it is a terrifying increase in power. This is also the reason why Wu Yu practiced the blood-weeping realm art. Now that he has achieved great success, he is more confident in his attacks. There is still time in the future, and he will continue to challenge other Taoist magic. The Taoist magic in the Taoist Magic Palace is the essence of Taoist magic. With the Taoist Magic Palace, Wu Yu is basically not interested in the Taoist magic of the Beiming Empire. After getting familiar with it, he left the Taoist Magic Palace. In the Nether Palace, Princess Yuxin was not far away. Wu Yu had not paid attention to her for a while. Now he saw that she had made a lot of progress, especially in the realm of Tao. "Have you succeeded in your cultivation?" Yuxin asked. "Not bad. By the way, what happened to the last incident? How is Yin Ying?" Yuxin said, "It is said that many people from the Yanhuang tribe were found, but they were not dealt with. She is still in the frozen forever for the time being. If it really doesn't work, maybe Duqian will come back to find a way. As for Duan Yi, he was dismissed from the position of nether general and demoted to a centurion. He needs to make achievements from the beginning. Gong Shenjun and others were also punished. Yin Xian was put in solitary confinement for a year, which should not be done so quickly. In addition, the elders of those who participated in this incident went to the Yin mansion to apologize. Basically, this punishment is almost enough. The Yin mansion could not take the lives of Duan Yi and others. After all, Yin Ying was not a key figure in the Yin mansion. If it was Yin Xian, then the problem would probably be a bit big. Although Duan Yi and the others' main target was Wu Yu, even if it was an accidental injury, it was due to their contempt for Yin Ying. "Are you going out?" Yu Xing asked. Wu Yu nodded and said, "Of course, I still want to continue to venture into the other world. Recently, I also want to sprint to a new realm." Yu Xing nodded and said, "I asked the Emperor's uncle last time, and he allowed me to take you into the other world. Of course, the alien creatures I killed cannot be counted as your achievements." So good, Wu Yu was still thinking about how to enter the other world, but Yu Xing helped him a lot again. In this case, let's go without further delay. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 735. Chapter 728, Yin Swallowing Beast. A neon-like light often appears in the sky of the northern Ming Empire. On this day, a red light flickered in the northern sky, and the dark city was shrouded in this red light, like a ghost. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Wu Yu has been staying with Princess Yuxi for a while. The Dark Palace is very quiet, most of the royal family are practicing, and some are training outside. Wu Yu has only stayed in a corner of the Dark Palace. The Dark Palace is still very deep, and Princess Yuxi is not convenient to take him in. In the Dark Palace, not many people see them, but when they come out and come to the streets of the Dark City, many people pay attention to them. Especially Princess Yuxi, wherever she goes, she can attract people's attention. They finally came out. Wu Yu hid so well. He disappeared for more than a month, and the others couldn't do anything to him. He was also very bold. It is said that he even fooled Yin Ding. If he hadn't promised not to tell anyone at the beginning, Yin Ding would never let him leave smoothly. That's good. As soon as he went out, he spread the news. Duan Yi went to find him, but he couldn't do anything to him. This is simply unbelievable. A foreigner, relying on his close relationship with the princess, forced all of us, the proud sons of the underworld, to suffer. We were all scolded. Looking at Wu Yu, they could only shake their heads, not knowing whether to admire or hate him. After all, in the final analysis, Wu Yu was a foreigner to them. While they were talking about this, Wu Yu and the other man had already walked quickly to the northern underworld military camp. People didn't dare to block their way. After a while, they had already reached the military camp. Princess Yuxiang, holding the token of the commander Yu's Hang, had a message from him, so it was not a problem for her to enter and exit the Beiming military camp. The two did not plan to go to the Fenchen military camp, but instead found the nearest military camp, where there was an entrance to the Yiming capital. The two had disappeared for more than a month, and the previous turmoil was almost over, but it was still a big deal. As soon as the two orphans showed up, the news spread, and many people opened their eyes wide and gathered to see who Wu Yu was. Wu Yu dared to do this. He is full of courage. He must have eaten a lot of courage to offend such big families and big forces. Lishan Mansion, Ministry of Justice Taishi Mansion, Yin Mansion. And the others are all implicated. I was afraid that he would not come out. Now that he has come out, I guess those favored sons of heaven who have been punished will definitely not sit still. If it were me, I would not sit still either. How could the dignified Beiming clan be bullied by this outsider? Although Duan Yi was demoted to a centurion and lost his power, his strength is still there. It is said that he has been killing aliens in another world recently, and his merits are accumulating rapidly. In a few years, he will be able to return to the position of the Netherworld General. Hearing this, Wu Yu couldn't help laughing. Centurion, 1,000 total merits. 1,000, 10,000. Netherworld General, 100,000. He became a general of the Netherworld directly, saving 100,000 total merits, but now he has only 1,000 left. It is not easy to raise the total to 100,000. It may take 10 years, not to mention a few years. Wu Yu's act of revealing the truth has almost ruined half of his future. This move is really amazing. Of course, who made him have evil intentions in the first place? This is called, you deserve it? Under the gaze of everyone, the two entered one of the military camps and headed straight for the entrance of the other world. Because Yu Xing had the token of Yu Shang in his hand, the road was smooth and the two entered the other world directly. When they came to the other world again, it was not desolate because of the last major event. On the contrary, there were many Netherworld sea guards who came in to hunt aliens and protect the Netherworld, and they were everywhere. Some people have been here for several years, practiced in the other world for a period of time, and set out again. My uncle has given me a limit. We can only stay in the 6th level area and cannot go deeper. No problem. My flesh and blood body has an attraction to foreign objects. Even at the 5th level, I can encounter many powerful foreign objects, Wu Yu said. Yes, you are here, you are a hot commodity. As soon as Yu 11 finished speaking, many people saw them again. They have been paid attention to like this since the beginning of the day and have long been accustomed to it. Regardless of other people's discussions, the two of them acted quickly and directly received the breaking dark light talisman, left the Yiming city, and entered this dark, whistling, and cruel world. It is said that Duan Yi is also in it. After all, he also wants to accumulate merits like crazy. It's a pity that Yin Ying is not alive yet. Wu Yu and Princess Yu 11 did not stop and went deeper. They directly crossed several areas and encountered those foreign objects that were anxious and crazy when they saw Wu Yu. Basically, they were quickly killed. In the first few areas, the probability of strong foreign objects appearing is not high. It is said that with Yu, the number of foreign objects encountered will be several times more. Isn't this a human-shaped bait? Princess Yuxing was very relaxed when she was with Wu Yu. Occasionally, she turned her head to look at Wu Yu, and her eyes were full of tenderness that she had never had before. That's right, haha. The two of them went deeper, and Wu Yu drove the somersault cloud behind them, directly passing through this cold and violent world, and finally appeared in the 6th level area, which was one level higher than the place Wu Yu came last time. Here, the storm is against the sky, the black sand is like a giant beast, roaring between heaven and earth, and the bone-chilling cold almost penetrates everything. This place is like a destroyed world. Standing here, even if there are no foreign objects, you have to fight against this hideous environment at all times. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. As soon as she arrived here, Princess Yuyan asked, "Guess when we will encounter foreign objects that can force you to use all your strength?" As soon as the voice fell, a large amount of black sand rolled in the black desert in front, making the desert roll like the sea, and a brutal and cold breath came from the ground in front. I guess, it's now Wu Yu has seen a lot of foreign objects. He is in front of the foreign objects, of course he can judge the strength of the foreign objects, such as what he encountered in front of him, which is probably stronger than the Xuanhuan River for him. Very strong. Princess Yuyan was also very curious. In fact, she also came here to experience this time in order to break through the realm. The strange creature I saw is second only to the Northern Sea Emperor beast, Wu Yu said solemnly. Then you take the lead, and I will attack secretly, Yu 11 smiled coquettishly. In the storm, her long hair whistled and fluttered, and she suddenly felt like a beauty in troubled times. Well, Wu Yu didn't say much. He held the upper spiritual weapon in his hand. In the fairy ape transformation, he turned into a golden fairy ape with golden hair, a more sturdy body, blood-red eyes, and a pair of fangs, all showing the ferocity of the beast. Law of heaven and earth. Then he directly used the law of heaven and earth, and his body snapped into a huge giant. Princess U11 was now only as tall as her calves. Buzz, perhaps disturbed by the burning eyes of Wu Yu, the strange creature suddenly roared, and then with a splash, it jumped out of the black sand and came into view. A closer look revealed that it was actually a huge and ugly black toad, with bumps all over its body, green eyes, and a big mouth that seemed to be able to swallow the world. This toad was very ferocious, kicking the ground with its 4 legs, croaking wildly, and its voice was so powerful that it shook the world upside down. Swallowing yin beast. Wu Yu narrowed his eyes and recognized the identity of this god of all things. This swallowing yin beast is the god of all things, born in the cold and yin, born of heaven and earth. It even has similarities with the demon ancestor of devouring the sky. However, the difference is that the demon ancestor of devouring the sky devours all things and strengthens himself, while this devouring yin beast is far inferior. It can only swallow the cold and attack directly, which is exactly the opposite of Wu Yu's magical power penetrating the sun. But even so, the devouring yin beast is actually terrifying, especially the huge devouring yin beast in front of him. Even if they are of the same kind, their abilities will be different. The yin swallowing beasts can be large or small. The small ones are only the size of a palm and are useless, while the one in front of us is basically the largest type. At this time, the yin swallowing beast locked onto Wu Yu and Princess Yuxi, and with a roar, its huge mouth suddenly expanded, just like a black hole. In an instant, all the cold, storm, and darkness in this alien world were swallowed by it. Seeing that the belly of the yin swallowing beast was getting bigger and bigger, even its cheeks bulged with 2 big bags. After being swallowed, it seemed that the surroundings were not so cold in an instant. "Be careful," Princess Yuxi exclaimed. The yin swallowing beast was indeed swift and fierce. After swallowing, its body instantly expanded 10 times, and then suddenly vomited. All the cold and storm in its body were catalyzed by its Tao. When it came out, it was already enough to kill. It was seen that the yin swallowing beast spit out a black torrent, just like the North Ming Emperor beast, accompanied by a storm, and deadly coldness was sweeping over at this time. Golden Eye Realm. Although he had seen the horror of the yin swallowing beast, Wu Yu was not frightened this time. The sun shone in his eyes, and he burst out with one move. Before the attack of the yin swallowing beast came, a world as hot as the sun directly surrounded him and Yu Xing. The golden fire was burning. The Golden Eye Realm surrounded Wu Yu, forming a huge fireball burning between heaven and earth. At this time, it collided with the cold torrent spit out by the yin swallowing beast. This extreme confrontation of cold and heat, once in contact, there was a harsh sizzling sound. This time Wu Yu was evenly matched. He wanted to use the Golden Eye Realm to surround the opponent and its attack, but he didn't expect that this was difficult to do. Moreover, the yin swallowing beast was angered by the fireball, and it bulged its belly again and came to devour again. This is a different world, so it certainly has the advantage. If it were outside under the scorching sun, Wu Yu wouldn't have to be afraid of it at all. When it was preparing again, Wu Yu rolled up the Golden Eye Realm and swept away. He didn't want to fight head-on, but had other means. Extra-legal clone. In the Golden Eye Realm, thousands of clones, accompanied by Wu Yu, descended on the head of the devouring yin beast. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 736. If you want to say that before, when encountering this yin-devouring beast, even the Golden Eye realm could hardly deal with it, Wu Yu would really have a headache. Even if it can't be killed, it may just run away. Wu Yu remembered that it had at least 300 merits to kill this level of yin-devouring beast alone, which was the gap between it and the Xianyin River. But now, he has another way. If the supernatural power is not available, the power of Taoism can be displayed. At this moment, the yin-devouring beast swallowed a lot of yin and cold air in a large area, and its body grew again. It may be that it could kill Wu Yu with one move just now, but now it was angered by Wu Yu's Golden Eye realm, so this attack can be said to be particularly hard. After swallowing to the extreme, the huge belly was almost cracked, and the black toad stopped when it was almost a ball at this time. It can be seen in particular that the burning heat that Wu Yu brought to this alien world really made the aliens living here quite unhappy. At this level, if it explodes, the power will definitely be stronger. However, at this time, it did not know that there were already thousands of Wu Yus hidden in the Golden Eye realm. Blood crying realm technique. The monkey cried blood, and the sound was shrill. Wu Yu had a powerful voice, but when he used this blood crying realm technique, it was still extremely sharp, and all the sounds were as sharp as swords. The sound of blood crying instantly formed a more blood crying realm, which also surrounded the huge swallowing yin beast. However, this was only one level at the beginning, but then it was amplified 1,000 times, and 1,000 levels of blood crying realm techniques gathered together at this time. This was also the first time that Wu Yu tried to attack the enemy. Since he had to attack, he would show no mercy. Everything that the weeping blood demon monkey taught him burst out at this time. Buzz. Outside the Golden Eye realm, in an instant, a huge blood-colored sphere swallowed the Golden Eye realm and the swallowing yin beast. The blood-crying realm technique was directly condensed into a blood ball from the sound. I am afraid that even the weeping blood demon monkey himself has not performed it to this extent. Buzz. A tremor. Wu Yu sent all the ubiquitous sound into the body of the yin-devouring beast. It seemed that all the blood in the blood-crying realm had flowed into the body of the yin-devouring beast. At this time, the yin-devouring beast suddenly stopped swallowing or erupting, and its black skin turned blood red. Broken. Wu Yu came out of the Golden Eye realm, and the powerful one-long stick became extremely huge, smashing on the top of the head of the yin-devouring beast. This was a mountain falling on the top. Bang! The yin-devouring beast, whose soul was shattered by the blood-crying realm technique, suffered another heavy blow from Wu Yu. This was when it was swallowing to perfection and almost exploded. Wu Yu's stick directly smashed it to explode. Boom! The yin-devouring beast was directly blown into powder by itself. The mighty yin-cold power, accumulated to the extreme, exploded. Even if the yin-swallowing beast was blown into powder first, it also brought a huge impact to Wu Yu at this time. Fortunately, Wu Yu still maintained the Golden Eye realm and protected Princess Yuyan here, so he was not penetrated by the yin-cold at the moment of the explosion. It's done. Wu Yu almost used all his skills. The last violent technique was the most ferocious, which directly caused the yin-swallowing beast to explode. Of course, if it weren't for the blood-crying realm technique to block its attack and almost make its soul collapse and deaf, it would still be quite dangerous to fight with the flesh alone. Again, if there was no blood-crying realm technique, Wu Yu was not sure if he was the opponent of this alien. At least in terms of merit, he had a great harvest by dealing with the yin-swallowing beast, and he was very close to the centurion. Of course, the fighting here was too noisy. After collecting evidence of the battle, he hurriedly took Princess Yuyan and drove the somersault cloud away. Your various methods, including this cloud, are too magical, Wu Yu. For Princess Yu seeing, she saw a performance that made her even more devoted. She deeply understood that even if Wu Yu was not strong at this time, no one could stop him in the future. It's just that many people now don't realize that he really has such terrible potential. Wu Yu smiled and didn't say anything. In fact, most of these were the methods of the Monkey King, especially the indestructible body of Vajra and the four great magical powers. No matter what, my goal is to keep up with your pace and not let you fall far behind. Next time I encounter foreign objects, I will also take action, Princess Yuxing decided. Okay, I'm waiting to see your performance. I will never let you underestimate me. Coming here, being alone, Yuxing is in a much better mood, and sometimes she is cute and coquettish. Wu Yu plans to stay here and wait until he has accumulated 1,000 merits before he plans to go out. Of course, he is also pursuing the Tao in various battles. The Tao of the yin-swallowing beast and the Tao of all foreign objects will be reflected when they fight. The way of heaven and earth is hidden in all things. Wu Yu pursued it without sleep and forgetting to eat. As time passed, he found that with his strength and the special characteristics of his body, the speed of increasing merits was indeed not a problem. Although it was difficult to encounter a foreign object like the yin-devouring beast, there were many foreign objects equivalent to the Xianyin River when gathered together. Together with Yuxing, they fought all the way. Most of the foreign objects had no wisdom. Wu Yu felt that wisdom was sometimes the key. Some gods of all things were very strong, but without wisdom, they would have great limitations. You know, the most ordinary mortals can have wisdom. There is no day or night in the other world. Wu Yu was too lazy to count the time. He focused on hunting and enlightenment, and so did Yuxing. Although he didn't count, he was sure that his achievements had already exceeded 1,000, or even more than 2,000. Princess Yuxiang's progress and concentration in the realm of Tao had a certain influence on Wu Yu. They both focused on this aspect. Sometimes when Wu Yu saw each other's eyes or an idea, he would have an epiphany. Because of the soul-controlling blood formation, Wu Yu knew very well what she was thinking all the time. During this period of time, her mind was very pure, with only Tao in it. Wu Yu looked at her Tao as a disc observer, but at such a close distance, he looked at it without reservation, and her realm was actually much higher than Wu Yu, so a situation was created. Wu Yu actually made rapid progress in her understanding and progress of Tao. Although the Tao was different, the feeling of enlightenment was the same. The great Dao was mysterious and unpredictable. Wu Yu was chasing after the breaker, and Princess Yuxiang's thinking gave Wu Yu a certain method. When one day, Yuxiang said that she was going out and she could already impact the 7th level of the primordial spirit transformation realm, Wu Yu found that he could probably go back and sprint to the 10th level of the purple mansion Kanghai realm. If this succeeds, then he will wait to condense the soul, achieve the soul transformation realm, and even possess the body of the demon ancestor of devouring the sky. The two left the other world together. Counting the time, 2 months have actually passed. This time Wu Yu will not go to the underworld palace. The last turmoil has passed, and he is not afraid of Duanyi and the others, so he does not need to hide. So Yuxing went back to the underworld palace first, and Wu Yu returned to his residence in the Burning Heaven army camp. This time he wanted to impact a new realm, so he returned quietly and no one found him. After returning to his residence, he placed the floating life tower in a hidden corner and entered the floating life tower. In the Sumuru bag, there are still some Dao Yuanshen pills left, but the number is not much. Now that the realm has been reached, all that is left is refining. The 10th level of the purple mansion Kanghai realm. After retreating, Wu Yu began to refine. 10 days later, the Dao Yuanshen pills were exhausted again, but this time, his purple mansion Kanghai finally reached the great perfection. The 10th level. The purple mansion is complete, and only waiting for the condensation of the soul. Now the purple mansion sea has indeed become a vast ocean. The top purple mansion Yuanli forged by the great heavenly immortal art has become a vast ocean, roaring and rolling in the purple mansion. Wu Yu has always been lagging behind in terms of mana, which is related to his short time of cultivation. Now that he has reached the 10th level and is sprinting towards the Yuanshen realm, the purple mansion Yuanli can be considered to be barely replenished. However, there is one thing that is more troublesome. The clones need a lot of Dao Yuanshen pills to upgrade. Now there are no more, so I can only exchange merits for Dao Yuanshen pills. After coming back, he was anxious to upgrade to the 10th level, but he hasn't exchanged merits yet. This time, with the Legion Commander's token, Wu Yu has evidence of killing all the foreign objects, so it is easy to exchange for merits. When he appeared in the Burning Heaven army camp, he directly attracted the attention of many people. When did he come back? Didn't he go into the other world with Princess Yue? I guess he came back these days. Because of the conflict between him and Duan Yi, the Dark Sea guards in the Burning Heaven army camp didn't dare to come up and talk to Wu Yu. Because of Wu Yu, the Burning Heaven army camp has no new Dark Sea generals yet, and it is in an awkward situation again. Duan Yi said that if he is given a year, he can return to this position. Now Duan Yi is a centurion under one of the 1,000 captains. Wu Yu. On the way to the Netherworld Palace, someone called him. Looking back, it was Lu Qing who entered the Dark Sea Corps with him. What's the matter? Lu Qing was a little shy and said, No, nothing, just say hello, you be careful with that. He left in a hurry. However, not long after, he turned back and whispered in Wu Yu's ear, I heard that Yuming will look for you in the other world. He was very angry when he didn't find you. Wu Yu smiled and said, Thank you very much. I will pay attention. Duan Yi obviously still couldn't swallow this breath. However, if he wants to take action next, he should be more covered. Wu Yu went to the other world with Princess Yuxiang for such a long time this time. I guess he will be more anxious. The dream of the Legion Commander is getting farther and farther away. Nether Merit Hall. Total, 2,700 merits. Centurion. Enough. Come a few more times, and you can have 1,000 men, as long as you are strong enough. Gong Yangfu looked at Wu Yu in shock. 2,700, enough to exchange for a lot of Dao Yuanshen pills. The upgrade of the clone has finally been settled. Gong Yangfu watched Wu Yu leave and didn't come back to his senses for a long time. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 737. Wu Yu was walking on the way to the Danming Palace. In the Alchemy Palace, you can exchange for many types of elixirs, which can be used as rewards for meritorious service. The most numerous of them is naturally the Dao Yuanshen pill, which can replenish the Yuan power of the Zi Mansion, and can also nourish the Yuanshen, making the Yuanshen stronger. The achievements that Wu Yu now possesses can be used to exchange for the Dao Yuanshen Dan, or they can also be used as capital for his promotion to Centurion. To be promoted to Centurion, you have to go to the Tianming Palace, which is the only one in the entire Beiming military camp. Merit and strength will be verified there. As long as both meet the standards, you can be promoted to Centurion, which will be announced to the military camp and to the world. After becoming a Centurion, it will be much easier to go to another world without the extra help from Yuking's uncle. So Wu Yu prepared to first change some Dao Yuanshen pills, and then equip the clones with Dao weapons, and then go to the Tianming Palace to accept the challenge of being promoted to Centurion. First, he went to the Danming Palace and exchanged nearly 1,500 merits in it for Dao Yuanshen Dan to raise clones. Then, go to the plan of the underworld, spend all the remaining achievements, and equip the clones with Taoist weapons. When you have time next time, learn another Taoist technique, so that the clones can leave even more. The extra-legal clone, this magical power is quite terrifying, you must make use of it. With the Dao Yuanshen Dan and Dao tools in hand, Wu Yu thought for a while and realized that Tianming Temple was still a little far away. He decided to let the clone reach its peak state first. At that time, the strength would be stronger. Although it was just a centurion's test of strength, after all, he was not a member of the Biming tribe, so he had to be careful about someone stumbling upon him. It was obviously the peak state and the most foolproof. So after using his merits in exchange for a lot of treasures, he returned to the residence of the Xuanhuan team. Unexpectedly, someone blocked him on his way back. As I was walking quickly, I suddenly heard bursts of evil energy from the front. When I looked up, I saw a person in the front, wearing a centurion's armor, but he was extraordinarily brave and powerful, and ordinary centurions could not compare. It turned out to be Duan Yi. Except for Duan Yi, Gong Shenjun and several of his friends, all the young geniuses in Mingdu who had been punished for the previous incident gathered together and intercepted Wu Yu. Except of course Yin Xian. Yin Xian was placed in solitary confinement and would not be able to come out for a short time. They were afraid that they had heard the news about Wu Yu's appearance. In addition to them, there were quite a few Hadean guards who sensed that a good show was about to take place, so they found a good position and hid in the corner, waiting to pry. Many of them even issued original and tail charms to tell them, friends, something big is clearly going on here. Duan Yi and the others really find it hard to swallow this breath. More and more people were whispering. Wu Yu didn't expect that they would intercept him openly like this. Without any fear in his heart, he walked straight forward and looked at these people. At least his aura was not weak at all. Duan Yi is at the 9th level of the Yuan Shen formation realm, and his strength is unparalleled. Suppressing Wu Yu is not a problem. He is afraid that he thinks so, but the facts prove that so far, he has been suppressed by Wu Yu. What matters most in his heart is all lost. This was the result of his father coming to apologize, otherwise he would probably have to leave the Hades city directly, let alone develop in the Hades Navy Corps. The two sides encountered each other in this narrow alley and quickly approached each other. No one had any intention of letting them go. When he first saw Wu Yu, Duan Yi still couldn't control his murderous intention. Only then did he calm down a little. He stared at Wu Yu with cold eyes, stopped him in his tracks, and said, "You are a turtle, you have been hiding for so long. Are you finally ready?" Wu Yu smiled and said, "I don't really want to give it up. After all, having a beautiful woman accompany you day and night is a good thing that many people dream of." Duan Yi discovered that Wu Yu was not humiliated at all. "Very good, then, it will take a long time, let's wait and see. I don't know the purpose of his coming here, and I don't want to take action directly. In fact, even if he took direct action against Wu Yu, no one except Yu Chong would say anything. After all, Wu Yu had no power." Wu Yu laughed dumbly and said, "We'll see who wants to follow you, Centurion." The last three words definitely made Duan Yi's heart sting, and Wu Yu saw his expression twitch. The other party could bear it, but his eyes were still cold, and he asked, "Today I want to ask you, if I am willing to fight you openly to resolve this conflict and hatred, do you dare? Or should I always rely on women for protection? I should just shrink my head." Turtle. He wanted to provoke Wu Yu and take the initiative to fight with him. He didn't want to run away as soon as he started fighting. It's a pity that Wu Yu is not the one to do this. He laughed and said, "What's wrong with the woman? The princess is happy to protect me, and I am happy to be protected by her. What's bothering you? Who doesn't know that you, Duan Yi, are so talented? Ming is almost invincible? I'm a fool and it's boring to fight you head on." Although Duan Yi is suppressing it, it is obvious that the gunpowder between the two sides has been burning to the extreme and is about to explode at any moment. I'm just giving you a clear opportunity. If you don't seize it, next, unless you are willing to hide in the palace of the underworld for the rest of your life, you will have a hard time, Wu Yu. I was careless last time and made you fight back. Then come down and wait. Let me remind you, this is the Biming Empire, and everyone is on my side, Duan Yi said in a low voice. Except Princess Yuqian. Wu Yu smiled. "Don't try to anger me, I won't do this either. I haven't seen you these days, but today I met you, so I said it to my face. If you don't want to come face to face, then there's nothing I can do about it. Duanyi waved his hand. It was an eye-opener for them. Why would an outsider be so arrogant in Biming? The only person who protected him was Yu Chong. In other words, if Wu Yu was killed, even if it was an honest killing, only Yu Chong would be offended, and no one else would react at all. And they are a group of people who are deeply rooted in the underworld. They are all the proud sons of heaven. Over the years, they have never been bullied by an outsider. Last time, it was just an accident, because Yin Ying was accidentally injured, so they were counterattacked. Otherwise, no one would punish them and let them be so humiliated. This time, when they met Wu Yu again, let alone Duanyi, no one else could bear it. So when Duanyi just finished speaking, Gong Shenjun next to him looked furious and suddenly passed Duanyi and attacked Wu Yu. You. This is the capital of the underworld, Gong Shenjun shouted angrily and punched him. Starting from him, several people around him took action one after another, including a group of talented young people at the 6th and 7th levels of Seoul. Took action at the same time, and an overwhelming attack came towards Wu Yu to suppress it. Even if they were punished, they dared to act openly at this time, because even if Wu Yu was killed on the spot, no one would punish them again. After all, Wu Yu is not Yin Ying. Anyway, I almost lost my face last time, so I don't need to care this time. If Wu Yu died, who would think that they were losers? Wu Yu had long expected that these high-ranking young people could not stand this kind of stimulation. As soon as Gong Shenjun made a move, Wu Yu summoned a somersault cloud and lay half on it, feeling comfortable. With a whoosh, he got away from them. Attack range. What are you guys doing? It's not going to work at such a slow speed. You can't even hurt a hair on my head, haha. Wu Yu appeared above them in an instant, laughing. Gong Shenjun and others took action in anger, but they didn't touch Wu Yu, which was embarrassing. After all, there were so many people watching. It's everywhere. When everyone saw this, they almost laughed out loud. They felt that Wu Yu was too funny. These aristocratic children, who were usually domineering, now looked worse than excrement. This Wu Yu is so courageous. The key is, he is really capable. To make these people so popular, if Wu Yu doesn't die, it will be a great miracle for our Biming Empire. Yes, to be honest, his methods and courage are all amazing, but he is a foreigner after all. As long as Princess Yuking protects him, Duanyi and the others can easily kill him secretly. However, they shouldn't be able to do anything to Wu Yu today. So, there is still something to watch. While they were talking, except for Duanyi who knew that Wu Yu was incredibly fast, everyone else swarmed away, a total of 6 people, trying to surround Wu Yu. They were scattered in 6 directions. Do it! Led by Gong Shenjun, everyone attacked together, and the various Taoist magic powers were really eye-opening. However, Wu Yu was very relaxed. He just rode the somersault cloud, shuttled between heaven and earth, and rushed out of the encirclement in an instant, making it impossible for Gong Shenjun and others to catch up. The longer you can't catch up, the more embarrassing you will be. The key is, Wu Yu doesn't let them stop yet. What? Haven't you guys eaten? Then I'll just wait for you. Don't worry, I'm here and I won't run too far. When you finish eating, it won't be too late to catch up with me. Why are you so slow? Are you doing too many indescribable things? Haha. In the sky, Wu Yu rode somersault clouds, laughing all the way, followed by Gong Shenjun and others who were livid and trembling with anger, but could not catch up with Wu Yu. If they really can't catch up, no matter how ridiculous they are, they have no choice but to stop at this time, otherwise they will continue to be fooled, which will not only embarrass themselves, but also the family behind them. During the chase, Many Minghai guards couldn't help laughing when they saw Gong Shenjun and the others being fooled. In fact, they didn't hate Wu Yu, a foreigner. On the contrary, most people thought he was quite interesting. Did things that most people wouldn't dare to do. However, they still didn't think highly of Wu Yu, because these people really couldn't commit such crimes, especially since Wu Yu was not from Mingdu. While I find it interesting, I also lament that maybe Wu Yu really won't live long. At this time they stopped, and Wu Yu also stopped. He put away his smile, looked at Gong Shenjun, and suddenly said, "Forget it, I will give you a chance to fight alone and decide the winner, otherwise you won't give up, right?" Gong Shenjun. Gong Shenjun could hardly believe his ears. Wu Yu actually wanted to challenge him. Heaven-swallowing record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 738. After Wu Yu stopped, Gong Shenjun and the others stopped chasing him. Gong Shenjun looked at the people next to him before confirming that he had heard correctly. Wu Yu had indeed said that he was willing to challenge him just now. Before that, it was probably Duanyi who wanted Wu Yu to stop running away and fight him openly. Unfortunately, Wu Yu refused. At this time, Wu Yu chose Gong Shenjun. Duanyi didn't say anything. Wu Yu thought he was no match for him. But Wu Yu challenged Gong Shenjun, clearly saying that he had the strength to compete with Gong Shenjun. "Are you sure?" Gong Shenjun Yuan Shen, the 7th level, had never worried that Wu Yu would be his opponent. "Of course, I keep my word. I said it here today. Even if I am killed by you, I will not run away." Wu Yu's tone was serious at this time, and he said it seriously, not like he was joking. "Very good," Gong Shenjun smiled, and he said to the people around him, "Brothers, let's watch for now. I'll vent my anger for you." When the conversation reached this point, it naturally caused an uproar. Everyone did not expect that Wu Yu would suddenly react like this. Now the matter was serious. It was obviously a good show that shocked the underworld. There are often good shows going on in the Ming capital, but there are really not many of this level involving so many future pillars of the Beiming Empire. Absolutely, an explosive show. Therefore, the Hadian guards spread the news one after another. Gong Shenjun couldn't wait to take action. Wu Yu was happy to keep playing with them, since they had already made a start. However, this good show was staged without any preparation, and the intensity was not strong enough. Just when Gong Shenjun was about to take action, Wu Yu said, "Why are you anxious? I didn't say it was now." 10 days later, at the gate of Beiming military camp, at noon, "I'm going to beat you to pieces, so don't be afraid to come." After saying that, he didn't bother to see Gong Shenjun's reaction, so he rode the somersault cloud and walked away. "Then in 10 days, I will let you die without a burial place." Behind him, the sound of Gong Shenjun's gnashing teeth came with the wind. The reason why he chose 10 days was because Wu Yu was not very sure right now. After all, Gong Shenjun had been practicing Taoism longer than Yu Qing, and his realm was higher. He was at the 7th level of the Yuan Shen realm, which was not the ultimate. It was really difficult to defeat him. Haikao has already boasted, and if it is defeated by then, it will be a laughing stock. So in this battle, he wanted to make sure nothing went wrong. Liang Zi has already taken over. Next, these people will continue to pester Wu Yu until he is dead. In this case, Wu Yu regarded them as opponents of fighting cultivators, and he wanted to become more brave as he fought. Deep down, there is the passion and mission of fighting. The indestructible body requires this, constant fighting until you reach immortality. Fighting to defeat the Buddha, fighting, is a lifelong destiny. Wu Yu is getting closer and closer to the will of the immortal. Monkey King? How domineering and unrestrained is this name? I dream that one day I can be equal to the scales. 10 days are left to allow the clones to refine the Dao Yuan Shen pill to reach its peak level. At the same time, let them sacrifice Taoist tools and replace them all with Taoist tools. There are thousands of Taoist tools. In the Biming Empire, the most common Taoist tools are not of high value. Good Taoist tools and thousands of achievements cannot be exchanged for that. After the clone almost consumed the Dao Yuan Shen pills he had received in exchange, Wu Yu once again entered a state of poverty. Fortunately, the clone has also reached its strongest level. In this way, after improving his level, Wu Yu has become much more tyrannical than the last time he fought with the yin-swallowing beast, and he is basically on a higher level. In the past few days, he occasionally went out and heard a lot of rumors. The matter of the battle is considered to be the follow-up to the last Biming Emperor Beast incident. It has become a big deal again. It has spread widely in the underworld, and even in the 90 satellite cities nearby. Many people want to come and have a look. Before the time came, a lot of people gathered at the agreed place and took the first place. In the past few days, the underworld has been very lively. This turmoil will attract a lot of people's attention. Because Yin Ying would not be accidentally injured this time, no one in Gong Shenjun's family would care about him, and there would even be someone who would make suggestions. There are probably many ways to kill Wu Yu. If it was so fair and above board, most people would estimate that Princess Yuking wouldn't be able to say anything. On this day, Wu Yu did not let Yu Zhou come over. Yu Zhou was in the critical period of sprinting to a new level. She did not come over so that people would not be so suspicious of her relationship with Wu Yu. After all, no one from the Biming tribe would want their princess to fall in love with a foreigner. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye, and Wu Yu had already prepared. It was close to noon. Although it was Biming, the sun was still in the sky at noon, but it was not as hot. When he arrived at the gate of the Biming military camp, he did not expect that the formation was even greater than he expected. Half of them were members of the Underworld Army Corps, and they were densely packed everywhere. There were other people watching the excitement at the gate of Biming military camp. It was rarely so lively in the underworld. It was estimated that there must be at least tens of thousands of people. There are also many powerful people in the Wen realm hidden among them. For example, Wu Yu, with his fiery eyes, saw Yin Yang from the Yin mansion in one of the tea houses, and the people at the same table seemed to be all important people. There are quite a few people who are very interested in Wu Yu, a foreigner. Of course, there are probably many people hiding in the secrets of the Imperial Master's mansion of the Ministry of Punishment. Wu Yu is a foreigner after all. He is so powerful in the Dark City that he will naturally be envied. When he arrived, he felt that among the tens of thousands of people, at least 90% of them were looking at him unkindly. Gong Shenjun and others had already arrived. As the landlord, he was supported by the Biming clan. There were about a dozen people of the same age, strength, and status as their group. Some of them were close to Duan Yi. Sure enough, this dark city is really full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Gong Shenjun is nothing here, no matter his talent or status. The Emperor of the Dark Sea has several princes and princesses. They just didn't show up today. When Wu Yu arrived, there was a lot of noise. Outsiders, get out of the underworld. How dare the barbarians from the demon-sealing continent run wild in my Biming imperial capital? Today, I will stop you from being arrogant. In my underworld, you dare to go against my Biming clan. This person is not even a member of the Yanhuang clan, and the Yanhuang clan will not recognize him. Get out of the underworld. One person, facing the hatred and contempt of tens of thousands of people, can still smile. Wu Yu's performance has been recognized by many elders. The opposite side is full of noise, everyone is cursing and threatening, and the power is like a tidal wave, as if the whole world cannot accommodate him. And Wu Yu is alone, standing proudly in the sky. At this moment, looking at these living beings, Wu Yu has some epiphany. Every time at this time, he can touch the way of the great sage equaling heaven. He is walking on this way of confronting the whole world and hundreds of millions of people. No matter how many difficulties and obstacles there are, he has only one heart and a sincere heart to support the great way in his heart. Nothing in the world can stop them, and all the gods and immortals in the sky are fearless. Gongshenjun, come up and be tortured. Wu Yu is indeed domineering. Just after arriving here, before the time is up, he rushed before Gongshenjun and shouted loudly to cover the curses. Looking for death, Gongshenjun has been waiting for this day for a long time. His younger brother Gongxinggui also came today. When he saw Wu Yu, his face flushed and he said, "Third brother, I must send him to the west." "Don't worry." Gongshenjun flew up to the sky under the expectation of everyone. He appeared in front of Wu Yu, his robe rolled, as cold as a killing god. At this moment, everyone is watching. When the battle started, everyone shouted, "Gongshenjun, destroy him. Let him know how powerful our Biming clan is. Kill him, run away with his head in his hands, kneel down and beg for mercy." Under the expectation of everyone, Gongshenjun was also excited. However, before that, Wu Yu's eyes were already like fire, and there was a scorching sun in the sky. Although this was the North Sea, Wu Yu still attracted the true fire of the sun, which rolled down and entered his eyes. It has been a long time since he used the Golden Eye realm under the sun. Now that the sun exists, the Golden Eye realm is really powerful. For a while, the rolling heat in his eyes swept the world. Most people in the underworld, like the aliens in the other world, hate the heat. Now that there is a raging fire in the sky, people are already very dissatisfied. This is a battle between hot and cold. Seeing that Wu Yu has already made a move, Gongshenjun naturally has to take the lead. If he doesn't make a move, it's fine. Once he makes a move, it will also shock the whole audience. This is cultivated by the Taishi mansion of the Ministry of Justice. Even if he doesn't become an immortal in the future, he can become a pillar of a great country. He is one of the future of the Taishi mansion of the Ministry of Justice. Naturally, it is not simple. There were two Taoist weapons in his hand. One of them was wrapped around his left arm. It was a big black net. There seemed to be a black snake slithering on it. It was dark and treacherous, revealing a serious murderous intent. Seeing that Wu Yu was going to fight Gongshenjun, Yu Xin was relieved, but he still told Wu Yu some information about Gongshenjun. For example, this Taoist weapon was said to have a 90,000 magic array, and its power was almost comparable to that of the upper spiritual Taoist weapon. It had a terrible binding force. If you were entangled by it, it would be difficult to escape, and you could only let Gongshenjun kill and torture you. This Taoist weapon was called the God Binding Net. In his right hand, there was also a long black curved knife with a dazzling bloodline in the middle, like a blood snake twisting. This was the Zanpaku Evil Blade, which also had a magic array of 80,000 or 90,000. The lethality was said to be the strongest under the upper spiritual Taoist weapon, and it was specifically used to kill the Yuan Shen. It was rumored that it would kill with one blow, and no one could hide. Gongshenjun's God-binding net and the Zanpaku Evil Blade worked together to be invincible. When the two treasures appeared, people cheered enthusiastically. These two treasures, added together, can always be compared with the upper spiritual tools. However, when Wu Yu had the world's infinite 10,000 dragon stick in his hand, the domineering, majestic, and powerful power still had a crushing performance, making the Zanpaku Evil Blade look a little petty. Now, with their eyes facing each other, under the attention of everyone, the battle suddenly broke out, and Wu Yu first displayed his magical power, the Golden Eye Realm. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 739. With the support of the scorching sun, the power of the Golden Eye realm has been brewing for a long time. For a moment, the surging flames swept across the world, and completely engulfed the sky above the gate of the Beiming military camp with an engulfing posture. A golden, blazing, huge sun suddenly appeared above everyone's head. The distance was too close. For everyone, the Golden Eye realm was hotter than the scorching Sunday. Even the coldness of half of the underworld was increased by the appearance of the Golden Eye realm. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Gong Shenjun, who was fighting with Wu Yu, rushed directly into the range of the Golden Eye realm. He had a little understanding of Wu Yu's magical power. Wu Yu had demonstrated this magical power when fighting with Yin Xian. So he was well prepared. There is a weapon armor on his body, named Xuanhuan Zianjia, which is also close to the existence of the Shangling Daikai. After entering the Golden Eye realm, the Xuanhuan Zianjia changes from a robe to a fairy armor. Most of the fairy armor is black, and there are many blue stripes, which are very dazzling. The key is that this weapon armor can also form a world of its own, forming a not very large spherical space, accompanying Gong Shenjun, completely isolating Gong Shenjun from the raging fire of the Golden Eye realm. With this Xuanhuan Zianjia, at least within this Golden Eye realm, he is temporarily unaffected by the Golden Eye realm and can move freely. Of course, even such a Dao weapon armor may not stay in Wu Yu's Golden Eye realm for a long time, so what Gong Shenjun wants is to be beyond Wu Yu's expectations and then fight quickly. As soon as he came in, he used the great Dao magic. 18 criminals. Gong Shenjun appeared in front of Wu Yu, his eyes were gloomy, and he sneered, and the great Dao magic swept from his body. A closer look revealed that 18 different colors of smoke were coming out of his body. The smoke formed giants around him, each of which was more than 3 feet tall. These giants were not real people, but rather fierce gods guarding hell in the legend. They had huge copper bell eyes and green fangs, staring at Wu Yu. Each of them had a very strong evil spirit, and I don't know how many people they killed. 18 criminals, go. This kind of magical power is similar to summoning clones. The 18 criminals seemed to have the power to create death, and Wu Yu's Golden Eye realm could not burn them to death for the time being. When the 18 criminals attacked, Gong Shenjun sneered. He was very confident in himself. The 18 criminals were just one of his means to kill Wu Yu. While he was using the 18 criminals to entangle and consume Wu Yu, he was brewing new magical powers within the battle range. That was the way to kill Wu Yu. At this moment, the battle was thrilling. Many people could hardly see what was in the Golden Eye realm, but they were still nervous and excited. Some powerful people who asked the question knew that the one who was in the leading position now should be Gong Shenjun. The 18 criminals were penetrating the raging fire, sweeping the fierce aura, and coming towards Wu Yu to suppress him. Gong Shenjun's eyes were full of confidence in himself. But Wu Yu was more confident than him. Outlaw clones. With a breath, after the fairy ape transformed, thousands of golden fairy apes appeared in front of the 18 criminals. These clones reached an unprecedented level of tyranny. As soon as they appeared, they almost attacked at the same time. Blood-crying world technique. Including Wu Yu, the shrill voice penetrated out, and thousands of blood-crying world techniques condensed and attached to the Golden Eye world at a terrifying speed. The range of the Golden Eye world was also the range of Wu Yu's blood-crying world. The blood-crying world was now covered by terrible sharp sounds. It was simply a hell on earth. It was a disaster for all living beings. The key point is that Gong Shenjun's Xuanhuan Zianjia seems to be unable to block the Taoist attack of this sound. In addition, the Golden Eye realm is constantly burning and melting the Taoist armor. Gong Shenjun's 18 punishments have not yet attacked Wu Yu, but Wu Yu has collapsed directly with the Taoist magic. Ah! In a blink of an eye, above the Golden Eye realm, after the harsh sound, Gong Shenjun's screams came. To be honest, the blood-weeping realm alone, even if it did not leave the scope of the blood-weeping realm, has made the people below very uncomfortable. Gong Shenjun's screams, for them, naturally made them even more uncomfortable. They didn't want to believe from the bottom of their hearts that what they heard was true. In the Golden Eye realm, Gong Shenjun's miserable condition was not beyond Wu Yu's expectations. After he was hit by the blood-weeping realm, his soul was injured, and he couldn't even control the Taoist armor. There was a loophole, and the fire of the Golden Eye realm drilled directly into it, bringing him a new attack. For a time, his flesh and spirit were tortured by Wu Yu at the same time. Gong Shenjun's face was as pale as paper. Wu Yu wanted to pursue the victory. However, the 18 punishment demons were still able to attack and kill. They had already taken action when Wu Yu performed the blood-weeping realm technique. After Wu Yu performed the blood-weeping realm technique, thousands of clones rushed out and blocked the 18 punishment demons. However, the 18 punishment demons could not tell which one was the real Wu Yu in this Golden Eye realm. Although the 18 punishers killed the clone very quickly, Wu Yu held the 10,000 dragon staff and came to the side of Gong Shenjun even faster. His blood-weeping realm technique did not stop, and the power of the Golden Eye realm also when Gong Shenjun was burning his opponent. This was when Gong Shenjun was still insisting but had no strength to fight back. Without saying a word, Wu Yu hit his opponent violently on the head. People only heard the sound of thumping in the sky. Suddenly, Wu Yu in an instant, the Golden Eye realm collapsed, and Gong Shenjun was scorched black, motionless, and fell directly from the sky. The tragic situation was not much different from that of Yin Xian at the beginning. Judging from this battle, Gong Shenjun was unable to fight back in front of Wu Yu. Wu Yu severely injured Gong Shenjun on the spot in front of so many Biming tribesmen, giving almost all the Biming tribe a heavy show of force. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Today is the day, and he will obviously become more famous. At this time, Wu Yu's golden hair was whistling in the wind, and his defeated general fell into the arms of an elder from the punishment department's Taishi mansion and was receiving emergency treatment. Except Wu Yu handed over his hand. After saying these words, the battle was clearly over. At this time, the Biming tribe, on the one hand, felt aggrieved and angry because Gong Shenjun's loss meant that they also lost. On the other hand, Wu Yu defeated his opponent openly, and his method was indeed very powerful, which was beyond their expectations, which also made them very depressed. This is equivalent to being slapped in the face, and you can only lament that the other party's hand speed is too fast. Of course, Wu Yu knew that he should not be too arrogant at this time, otherwise it would be bad if tens of thousands of Biming tribesmen chased him. He said, "Before I made today's decision, I just wanted to tell Duanyi and Gong Shenjun that I, Wu Yu, have no grudge against you, but you have designed to assassinate me. Although I am in the underworld, even though I am in your eyes outsiders, if someone wants to kill me, I will still resist. Today's fair and honest defeat of Gong Shenjun is my response. Duanyi, I will give it to you one day." He did not target the Biming clan, but only targeted Duanyi, Gong Shenjun, and a few others. Moreover, he was almost murdered. Speaking of which, he is qualified to say so. In this way, the anger and aggrievedness in the Biming clan's heart can be traced. Only then did it lighten up a bit. But when Wu Yu targeted Duanyi, people's attention shifted to Duanyi. Duanyi looked up. He was surprised at Wu Yu's progress, but he was also a person with spiritual tools and great opportunities. Even if Wu Yu showed this, he was not afraid at all. "Then I'll be waiting for you. Don't let me wait too long," Duanyi said in public. This can be regarded as an appointment for a battle. One can imagine that there may be even more exciting battles in the future. If they all participate in the next grand event, they will definitely have a chance to compete, Wu Yu vaguely heard someone else say. This is a fair and just victory. The people of the Grand Master's Palace of the Criminal Department have been embarrassed, so they can't attack Wu Yu at this time, otherwise it will only be more embarrassing. Now, they can only take Gongshenjun back quickly. As for what to do in the future regarding Wu Yu, I believe their family will have calculations. It was not advisable to stay here for a long time. After defeating his opponent, Wu Yu said goodbye to everyone and quickly returned to the Fengtian army camp. Of course, Duanyi was going there as well. The people here dispersed. Of course, the result of this battle spread almost throughout the underworld realm the moment it ended. No matter how you put it, Gongshenjun can be regarded as one of the myths of Mingdu. He was defeated like this, which made the Baiming people feel a little suppressed. They also had some objections to Princess Yuki, who was brought back to Wu Yu. During the journey, Wu Yu was the fastest to come back. He didn't know how many people were talking about him outside. He just wanted to make progress as soon as possible and reach the state of soul transformation. After defeating his opponent this time, he was about to continue on the journey. However, before that, he still had one thing to accomplish, and that was to become a centurion. As a centurion, he needed to go to the Tianming Palace, so Wu Yu temporarily changed his route and changed his target from Fengtian army camp to Tianming Palace. Tianming Palace is where all the people of the Hades army go to upgrade their positions. The Tianming Palace is very large, but the most people who come here are the underworld guards. They come here in order to be promoted to corps commanders. Those like Wu Yu who directly want to become a centurion from the underworld guards have been very rare in history. Those who were promoted to captains and generals of the netherworld became even rarer. As for General Hyming and so on, they need to be tested by the Legion commander himself. Every time someone is promoted to General Hyming, it is the busiest time in Tianming Palace, and the Legion commander will appear at that time. As for General Tianming, not only did he need permission from the Legion commander, but it was said that he also needed the approval of Emperor Minghai. That was a major event for the Hadi High Corps. Wu Yu is only promoted to Centurion now, which is nothing to the entire Hades Marine Corps. Soon, he will be at the same level as Duanyi. I think back then, he was the Nether Sea Guard, and Duanyi was the Netherworld General. Soon after, Wu Yu arrived at Tianming Palace. Among the huge Hades Marine Corps, there were more than a dozen people who were applying to be centurions at the same time as him that day. The time ends in the evening, and then the test begins. The first is the total merit. Wu Yu's total merit has long been exceeded. This is no problem, but there will be someone here at Tianming Palace to review. The focus is on testing strength. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 740. In the test of strength, the number of centurions here is only less than that of corporals. Renan. However, there are only a dozen of them. Wu Yu had just made a huge noise, and the sensational news had just reached here. People were talking about Gongshenjun's tragic defeat in a deep voice. Several corporals were promoted to centurions, and they never expected that Wu Yu would come to them. Everyone stayed in the same palace, waiting for time to pass. They didn't dare to go up and talk to Wu Yu. After all, Wu Yu was someone who could defeat Gongshenjun. With Wu Yu here, the air became solemn. What they were most puzzled about was how Wu Yu could gather enough merits from the Dark Sea Guard to the Centurion in such a short time. You know, they have been fighting for more than 10 years for the exciting day. However, there is no use in doubting. Those who appear here mean that they have passed the merit review. Tianming Palace is very solemn. Promotion is the most important thing for the entire Dark Sea Corps, and there is no chance of fraud at all. Once collusion or fraud is discovered, the matter will be serious. No matter who it is, all the efforts in the Underworld Sea Corps for so many years may be in vain. In the evening, before the deadline, there were nearly 20 people in total. Led by an old man, they went out to the depths of the Tianming Palace and finally stepped into an extremely solemn square. Here, a group of people sat on the high seats, waiting for today's promotions. There were 5 old men sitting on the high seats, all of whom were senior guys in the underworld Sea Corps. As long as 3 of the 5 of them thought that the testee's strength was up to standard, they could pass the test. The content of the test was to fight with an opponent of the 4th level of the Yuanshen realm, and the 5 old men judged by the process and results of the battle. Everyone was assigned an opponent, who was actually a centurion. They came to Tianming to test newcomers and also to earn merit. In the past, newcomers here still had to look at their faces, and even secretly let them go a little. But the situation today was different. Instead, the centurions were very nervous because they were afraid that their opponent would be Wu Yu. Wu Yu has always been the focus here today. As for combat power, the old men judging above may not have Wu Yu's combat power. First, one of the old men said some rules and things, and then started directly. According to the order of registration today, the battle started directly. Because Wu Yu came later, he wasted some time at first and watched more than 10 games that were almost evenly matched. In fact, there are not many people who dare to come here to fish in troubled waters. Basically, they can pass. When it was Wu Yu's turn, the opponent surrendered directly and said, he can even defeat Gong Shenjun, so let's forget about this battle. No, the old men shook their heads. According to the rules, no matter who it is, he must fight. Wu Yu did not embarrass him and directly fought him. He solved him in 1 or 2 moves. Such thundering power made everyone present even more terrified. Those old men did not dare to embarrass him, and the 5 people passed unanimously. Congratulations, you passed the test. Please wait for the Tianming Palace to announce it in a month. You can leave first. This is Wu Yu's extra treatment. Others are still staying here to listen to his teachings. By the way, do you want to choose to be a centurion in the Burning Heaven army camp or join other army camps? If you are willing to join other army camps, it may be arranged faster. Other army camps are also fine. The main purpose of his promotion to centurion is to facilitate the other world. With his strength, he is already comparable to 1,000 men. No matter which army camp he goes to, it is estimated that no one will make things difficult for him. In fact, Wu Yu's next goal is to directly impact the merits of 1,000 men. If he is alone, the efficiency may be faster. 10,000 merits may only take a few months. However, he still has to wait for the Tianming Palace to announce it before he can be considered a centurion. Before the announcement, he is still a Dark Sea Guard. There is a month in between. Wu Yu decided to return to the Burning Heaven army camp and take advantage of this time to go to the Dao Fa Yao Palace to challenge a Taoist technique. The magic of this demon sect is indeed quite powerful, especially when Wu Yu has a clone to perform at the same time. The blood-weeping world technique has made Wu Yu taste the sweetness. Under the situation that it is difficult to make progress in magical powers, he can't wait to learn a magic. It is now night, and many people in the entire underworld core are still discussing the turmoil that happened during the day. When Wu Yu passed by, they immediately shut up. Wu Yu has not been in the underworld for a long time, and now he has become one of the celebrities in the underworld. Everyone is discussing this foreigner. When Wu Yu passed by, they also cast strange eyes. Princess Yuxi may really like Wu Yu. Wu Yu is a smart man. He knows that if he doesn't keep a good distance from Princess Yuxi, he will anger the royal family. This man is really bold to the extreme. He dares to come here and act wildly. Just wait and see. I guess he won't live more than 3 days after this. The people in the Ministry of Justice are not vegetarians. These gossips could not stop Wu Yu's determination to rise. Instead, they made him more determined. He returned to his residence in the Burning Heaven camp, hid the fusion tower in a corner that was difficult to find, entered it, and then took out the Dao Fa Yao Palace from the Sumuru bag. With the purple mansion Yuan Li, the Dao Fa Yao Palace can come alive and stand on the ground of the fusion tower. Wu Yu quickly penetrated it and wandered in this white world. What Taoist magic do you want to practice this time? First, the creator monster cannot be too strong. Second, it would be better if the power of the 10,000 dragon stick can be stimulated. This chapter is not over yet, please click the next page to continue reading. Now the 10,000 dragon stick has not been completely sacrificed, its most powerful attack array has not appeared, and the infinite beast has not appeared, so the true power of the Shangling Deikai has not yet been exerted. From these 2 points, there are actually not many choices, because most of the creator monsters here are difficult for Wu Yu to defeat. However, he made a new discovery this time. In the same position, the challenge platform and Taoist magic that appeared last time and this time are different. Some Taoist magic seems to have never been seen before. In other words, there may be more than a few hundred Taoist magics here, and they are constantly changing, so this time, it will be a little different. Because of this, he has to start looking again. This time, it took 5 days to carefully screen. Finally, he was sure. At this time, in front of him, there was a huge challenge platform, and on that challenge platform, there was a giant elephant that was as if it was made of gold and pure gold. The golden elephant has a sturdy body and sturdy limbs, with a pair of golden tusks and a strong trunk, which is like 2 knives and a long whip. Such a giant elephant is like a moving golden mountain, which is a symbol of power. According to the introduction of the Taoist Demon Hall, this kind of demon is called the Golden Divine Elephant. It is a demon with a very high bloodline. The purer it is, the more golden it is. The Golden Divine Elephant is the supreme power. It is rampant in the world and no one can stop it. Whether it is a mountain or a city, it can be smashed directly. This Golden Divine Elephant is called Yinja. He is the 4th generation of the Demon Dao section. He is a highly respected demon. When he was at his strongest, he was at the 3rd level of the 3 disasters. He eventually died in the first disaster of the 3 disasters. It is 1 level higher than the Weeping Blood Demon Monkey, which is not too much, so Wu Yu dared to challenge it. The Taoist art he created is called Divine Elephant Shocking Prison Art. With the great power of the Divine Elephant, countless shocks can be formed. Under his Taoist art, large earthquakes can be formed, which is said to be able to shake the deepest hell. Moreover, this Divine Elephant Shocking Prison Art can also be stimulated by the 10,000 dragon stick, combined with the violent art, the law of heaven and earth, etc., to burst out the most violent attack, and the clones can be used at the same time to create a superimposed effect. Wu Yu's clones are all parts of his body. In terms of simultaneity and fusion, it is different from thousands of people practicing the same Taoist art at the same time. Wu Yu's thousands of people are actually thousands of times one person, while other thousands of people are difficult to achieve true synchronization and mutual fusion. This is Wu Yu's huge advantage. His clones are different from thousands of people gathered together. After choosing the Divine Elephant Shocking Prison technique, Wu Yu was ready to challenge the Golden Divine Elephant. Of course, he knew how terrifying the Golden Divine Elephant was, but in order to greatly improve his combat effectiveness and fighting ability after practicing the Divine Elephant Shocking Prison technique, he decided to fight. This is in the Hades, so high profile, there will always be people who want him to die. But Wu Yu still has to be high profile. He doesn't want to suppress his nature, and releasing his nature is the road to immortality. This is what the Monkey King taught him. So, he plucked up his courage, shouted loudly, and completed the transformation of the immortal ape, the law of heaven and earth, etc. in a short time, raising his strength to the peak state, holding the spiritual Taoist weapon with 10,000 dragons entwined and 10,000 dragons chanting in his hand, and rushed into the barrier of the challenge platform. For Wu Yu, the value of the Taoist Demon Palace is lower than the mysterious floating life tower, but definitely higher than the 10,000 dragon stick. Of course, he remembered to challenge the new puppets of the Fusion Tower, which were stronger than the black and white impermanents and were waiting for him. Because the puppets seemed useless for challenging the Taoist demon palace and might not be able to be brought in, he decided to attack the Taoist magic first and then challenge the puppets. Once successful, he will definitely be stronger. The golden elephant had seen him a long time ago. When Wu Yu came in, the mother elephant was very quiet at first, but when it really moved, not only the entire challenge platform, but also the air around it and the barrier, all felt trembling. The golden long nose was lifted and swept across. Even if it did not attack Wu Yu, it could cause huge pressure, making Wu Yu realize that it might be a deadly weapon all over its body. The confrontation really suppressed the golden elephant. Fight! Wu Yu gritted his teeth and rushed forward without hesitation. A new future is at your feet.